Well, the Las Vegas Raiders are releasing a defensive tackle in Christian Wilkins after just 1 year into that 5-year deal of $110 million that they gave him not too long ago. He suffered a season-ending foot injury in Week 5 of last season, and the Raiders voided the final $35.5 million contract guaranteed money for him due to how he treated the rehab process, which led to Wilkins to file a grievance with the Players Union. So that's what happened with him, but the team releasing a statement on the release of Wilkins saying, and quote, "We have decided that in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field with no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian. This transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season." Some strong words there from Vegas, but joining me now, my guy, NFL insider Ran Carthon, who spent many years in the front office. And Ran, I have to ask you, get your initial reaction to the Raiders' move here with Wilkins.
I mean, initially it's a shock just because of the impactful player that he can be when he's available and he's on the field. And you know, if you know anything about a Pete Carroll defense, it's built up front. And so he likes to have those, guys that can get off the ball and attack. And Christian Wilkins is very much that. So my initial reaction, I was shocked and couldn't believe it. I had to check a couple sources just to make sure it was real and I didn't end up on somebody's parody account.
Look, when it comes to these injuries too, and you've probably been around these situations, but how much say does a player have over this in terms of their medical decisions when it comes to something like this?
I mean, they have all to say, right? Because it's their body. It's their body, and they're the player. We need them on the field. And so it's one of those deals where the player gets a diagnosis of what it is, and then from there, the medical teams will work together. The independent doctor, the team doctor, they will all work together to try to find out what's the best prognosis for the player and how to attack it. But the player 100% has full control and say over their bodies and whether they get surgery or not.
On the flip side, the team, in terms of the say and what happens, the next step, what happens with that?
So from a team perspective, we would just have the conversation of, how soon can we get this rectified, right? What's in the best interest of the player? What's in the best interest of the organization? Does the player need surgery? Is there something he can play through? And then we'll adjust from there. Trust me, there are tons of players in the league right now that will probably need some form of surgery, but they're able to play through it. I mean, if you look at Fred Warner last year, Fred Warner played probably the last 10 games of last season with a fractured ankle, but it was a decision he made along with the 49ers medical staff that it was something he could play through.
If you're the Raiders, you already touched on it. You're talking about a dominant D tackle that we saw, of course, in his days in Miami, obviously hampered by injuries with the Raiders last year. What's their next direction? I'm assuming that obviously you would have somebody in-house, but you want to look outside the house as well as camp kind of gets started here.
And trust me, this is a pro department's worst nightmare to come into you lose a high impact player and now you have to go and try to find the next guy with what's available on the street. If you look at it, most teams around the league right now are at their 90-man max on the roster. So do the math, 90 times 32, whatever that math is. God only made so many good football players. God only made so many Christian Wilkins. So it's what's available to you on the street. Now, here's what they're going to have at their disposal. At the end of this process, I think they picked 6th in the draft this past year, so they'll be 6th in the claiming order. So there'll be players that come available at the end of the preseason that they'll be well positioned to claim with the 6th pick in the claiming order. But then you could also see them trade for a guy, later in the process.
You know this better than anybody around here. Anything can happen. Camp just kind of gets up ramping. The closer we get to training camp is always.
Is agonizing over this one. Which player from Louisville has the most receptions in a single NFL season? Here's the problem. If the answer is you and you don't guess you, that looks bad. Yeah, if the answer is not you and you do guess you, that looks way worse. So having said that, which Louisville player had the most catches in a single NFL season?
I'm going to go with Mark Clayton.
That's right.
Hey! ATL. Let him cook.
Let him cook. Let him cook, baby.
That's a big win.
Hey,
Where'd that come from?
Hey, recruiting is on the rise at Louisville, baby.
Mark Clayton had 86 catches in 1988. Harry Douglas had 85 catches in 2013.
Greeny, I didn't even remember how many receptions I had. That's the year I had 1,000.
That's why I'm telling you, you had 85. You were one shy of Mark Clayton's school record for NFL receivers. Woo. Well done. That is a good move on a Football Friday on Get Up. We are jam-packed. A week from today, we will be reacting to the Lions and the Chargers. You see the squad we've put together. We are rolling on this morning. All 32 teams are in training camp. And so let's take you camping. We start in Oxnard, California. Dak and the Cowboys continuing to practice, as is the case every year. Dallas enters the season with high expectations. They missed the playoffs last year. And speaking with reporters yesterday, Dak was talking about motivation, what he wants to accomplish, and he did not hold back.
Yeah, having fun and winning a Super Bowl. Period. Period. It's what I want. It's what I want from this game, and I know it's what everyone wants in this locker room. If anybody in that locker room don't believe it, then I asked them to get out. And Shotty said it day one when we showed up. If you don't want to win a Super Bowl or don't think we can win a Super Bowl, then then don't come to Oxnard, and you're in the wrong place. I want that first and foremost now, and that is the urgency that I carry with just the love and the passion of this game is not only wanting to win for myself, but one win for this organization. It's been, damn long enough.
All right, so there's Dak. And I understand there's a tendency to roll your eyes. Oh, yeah, every team talks that way. Every team thinks that way. Everyone wants that. But here is the first thought I had, and Mike T and I think we're sort of aligned in this. When the person who speaks for the organization, and we all know who that is in Dallas, started this week by talking about not wanting to pay or how much you're going to pay your best players, and as someone could get hit by a bus and all of that. To me, it was refreshing to hear at least the leader in the locker room get up there and say, wait a minute, we're about winning Super Bowls. We're about winning a championship. This organization has waited too damn long. That's what I'm here for. And if you're not, then get the hell out of the locker room. I loved hearing him say that yesterday.
Absolutely agree. That's the veteran, steady hand that this organization desperately needs. And I think the combination of him and Brian Schottenheimer, again, not a coincidence that Brian was an internal candidate. And obviously, Dak had to sign off on it. You know, the other interesting thing that comes to mind, think about all the problems he's solving below the surface. Imagine the conversations he's having with Micah Parsons. Hey, I've been there. You're going to get your money. So sometimes when you're the quarterback, you're also the chief problem-solving officer. And I think what we saw yesterday is one of the reasons he's so well regarded in that building.
D-Wood, why do you look so skeptical?
No, I wouldn't call it skeptical. I call it a change of heart. First hour, I was skeptical. But then I just started thinking, Dak has always been very corporate. He's always been very buttoned. Yes,
Buttoned up.
I like how Dak is just like, you know what? No, I'm going to just lay it out there. I want to lay it bare what the goal is, what my expectations are, not only for myself, but this whole organization. And if you're not on the train, then get the hell out of here. Like, we don't hear that type of emotion. It's rare we hear that type of emotion from Dak Prescott. And I think that, to me, that's a welcome change. Maybe that's with Brian Schottenheimer, the new head coach. You know, Schotty has some of that in him and himself, but it's refreshing to hear that from Dak Prescott.
That's right. He was buttoned up. He was like this. And then yesterday, let's just loosen that up a little bit. Yeah. Let's loosen up and let's say what we want. And I like it. I got to be honest with you. I really like it. Now, let me ask you this question. You guys played, and so you know, and even my team being there in the organizations. Like Aaron Rodgers, you're going to hear him say in a minute, every year there were like 6 to 8 teams that legitimately can win the championship, but everyone goes in thinking they can. Do the other players all feel that way? Like, if you're right now, if you're one of the other Cowboys, you're in Oxnard, California, so it's 6 o'clock in the morning, maybe some of them are watching right now. How do they react when they're hearing their quarterback say what he just said?
Oh, I will tell you this, Greeny. If they don't feel that way, I'm with Dak Prescott. I'm going to put my foot in your ass. It's time for you to get out of here. Because everyone should have that mentality. You go into a situation and you think you can't win something and you think you're going to lose. Oh, no, I don't want that mindset in this building. I don't want that mindset around this organization. So everyone, top to bottom, they better have that mindset, just like Dak Prescott just mentioned in that soundbite. Otherwise, they need to go somewhere else to another organization that is accustomed to losing.
And I think, we talk about Rex Ryan a lot, but when Rex got to the Jets, it was a little bit of, hey, we're going to set the standard. We're not going to run from it. Shotty certainly embraced that. And I think if you're Dallas right now, like, You hear about Philadelphia all the time. You're hearing about Jaden Daniels all the time. And I think Dak was like, well, wait a second. Like, we have a shot at this mantle just as much as they do. And I think that sort of invigorates the locker room with confidence.
I think Brian Schottenheimer is flying under the radar, too, as a potential really good coach. He has literally been in it his entire life. His father was a legendary coach. He was born into the business. He's worked in so many organizations, college and pro, for so many different styles. So he's seen it all, right? He worked for Pete Carroll, who has one personality. He worked with Rex, who has an entirely other personality. He worked back in the day when his father was the head coach. He had to sort of manage that unusual set of circumstances. I think he's got a chance to really do well. I think the